Just one more. I'm just putting one more piece about the A&R student. Let me finish that real quick. Okay. There was Bill Clinton pushed a lot of women into college that probably shouldn't have been in the college. That should have been on welfare, right? So when you see a chick with a degree that's making some money because she got her degree and she's mating with A&R student, that's her imprint, because 9 times out of 10 she came from a lower class, right? And she's a climber. Okay, she climbed out of the ghetto, she climbed out of welfare, she got a good job, but she still likes the same dude that she liked when she was down there, when she was 15, 16 years old before she got pregnant. So that's probably, so some of it is rebellion for the mother, but a lot of that is because that's the dude that they like. And black women been doing that kind of shit, man, forever. It's not new. Okay.
BGS, that's my mother. BGS, she talking about my mama. And like you really talking about my mama, real talk. My mama grew up in the projects, and she came out of the projects, and she did very well for herself. And she grew up in the suburbs. She got a ghetto girl. You know what I'm saying? And my grandma used to drink and throw parties. And my mama didn't know who her daddy was. She didn't grow up with her daddy. But you talking about my mama, so like when you talk about my mama, I'm struggling with not getting mad, but
you can't get mad, man. You can't get mad at history. It's get mad at history.
I mean, but I'm just saying. I'm just telling you the truth.
They were put into a position that a lot of black people put in positions they probably wouldn't have been in otherwise. But it is what it is. But anyway, I'm gonna cede the floor.
But I'm just saying, like, I think that my mama did well for herself, but I think that you're right when you say these things, but it just sucks that like actually like
harsh reality.
It sucks to hear it.
So in other words, we say this stuff. Me and Rael say this stuff so you'll recognize it when you see it instead of getting mad about it. You'll understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up where you left off, BGS, in terms of what you talked about with the 87s and the 85 octanes. And you said something when we were on your last live stream, and it's been buzzing in my head ever since. And you may not have an answer for it. You do. I've heard a couple different perspectives, yours and another woman's. So how can black men, if we can, help heal the wound, the WOMB of black women who have been damaged?
Okay, what Roger is showing, and what especially Kevin is showing, right? That black women have no clue why they do the shit that they do. They have no clue. They just do shit. They like the Joker, man. They don't have plans. They just do shit, right? And they do shit because it's been passed down to them. They don't have any idea why they do it. Okay, and the thing is, because they're feeling, right? It takes a logical mind, it takes a masculine mind to break shit down and say, look, this is why you do shit. This is why you do it. It's you're mad at your mother, but look at your grandmother. So you ask them questions. What did your grandmother do? How was she raised? How did she raise herself?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Go ahead.
This is great.
When
you have broken down a woman and broken down why her behavior, let's say it's a woman you've been in a relationship for, it could be a woman you're not in a relationship with.
Right.
But you've broken down her behavior and laid it out to the T. Yeah. And she knows you laid it out to the T. What was her response?
Some women, first they get mad. Okay, first they really get mad.
Right.
They tell you a lie and that's not true, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, it takes at least 6 or 7 months for a woman to digest that stuff and start to change. Because we got to remember, this is an ingrained pattern, and some patterns you can, well, even with all people, right? There's some patterns that you can change. Okay, but there's a lot of stuff that you were ingrained with from 1 to 7. Well, you just got to work with, because you're not going to get rid of them. Okay. You're not going to get rid of them because they're already ingrained into your psyche, into your personality. It's very difficult to get rid of them. Okay. The thing is, you have to work around them. Okay. If you know you like a certain chick, guys like that with them bad chicks, right? Okay. You know you ain't supposed to be with that bitch. Okay. The thing is, you're always going to lust after her, but you got to. Well, that's a different story. But the thing is, you lust after her, you're not supposed to be with her. And the thing is that, but the thing is, you always have that pull of gravity. You get said, okay, you know what? I know what this is. Let me walk away. Let me make a different choice. And that's what has to happen. You have to make a different choice. Same thing with women, okay? I know I was raised around these dudes. I know they ain't no good for me. I said, one thing I need to do is say, hey, I need to tell my daughter, first thing, don't have no babies by him, okay?
And BGS, I hate what you're saying because my father is one of those good military guys. I was raised on a military base. He took me hunting. We won military games. I played football and basketball. And he built. And my grandmother had an aneurysm. He built her a handicapped bathroom. But one thing I realized about my father, and one thing that my mother always took ahead of my father, she never let me become my father. She said, "Your daddy was compromised because he was called Sweetie Pie, Honey Pie. His mama always ran him. He was the only son out of 6 sons from 12 kids. He was a good boy. And my mama, even though she's a pastor, this is what my name is. And it coming Herb guy, he passed $40 because the pastor $40 actually comes from my mother. She's a pastor, and I understand. And me and my mother have a very deep relationship. And like she tells me that you will never be.
Why? I mean,
because my father's a good man, but he's always been taken advantage of. Okay. Even with the military, even with his mother, even with her, even with everyone.
So why did she marry him?
Because she knew she could take advantage of him, and she would never let me be that guy.
So she likes the bad guys. I mean, she likes the guys who play quote unquote sucker.
Yeah. So my mother she would procreate with a sucker because he knew my father's not a sucker. He's just a good man. So therefore my father.
So you either become your father, you become your mother. Which one are you?
Right.
I have more. To tell you the truth, I have more, and I look like her, and I have more in common with my mother. I'm more street like my mama.
In other words, if you get a chance, you're gonna take advantage of people, right?
My mother taught me to have I struggle between the two because I want to be loving and kind and my father.
I gotta do like the old school. I gotta do like the old school of hangouts. That wasn't the question, nigga.
Yeah. He already said he don't have to answer the question. He's already said.
He takes it. In other words, you got your mother manipulating ass ways, right?
Yeah, and including not embracing what your father taught you. He's a productive man. Because everything I heard you say about your father was positive. What was negative about your father?
He was easily manipulated, and everyone could take advantage of him, and everyone counted on him. So therefore, everyone had his heart. Like my father did everything for me as a child, and everything for us as children. Me and my sister. He didn't want to give my sister the kiss on the forehead. That's just why I understand what a father's kiss is, because my father gave so much to me. But I understand.
So why is that negative?
Right. Because of the group he's in.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you why it's negative. I'm gonna tell you why it's negative.
This is a great issue.
This is the reason why it's negative. It's because she doesn't want the resources. See, women don't get mad at men cheating because it's other woman. Women think in resources. You probably giving the bitch more than me. She doesn't want somebody else to get something out of him, which men have traditionally done for hundreds of thousands of years. Men are givers.
Well, my father's remarried, and he's remarried to a very.
So in other words,
let me finish. He's remarried to a what?
My father remarried better. I would say that my father's new wife. My mother wanted me to resent her, but as being a man that's being a man, like my mother wanted me to be, like I want to be for myself. I realized that my father's new wife is a better wife than my mother was.
Why?
Well, she listens to him. She takes his guidance. She doesn't take his kindness for weakness. There's a lot of different reasons.
So, in other words, everything. Okay,
same man, right? It was the same man. Right?
Same man, yeah. In other words, everything that you said about your father was extremely positive, even down to the way he treated you, his children, his family, the people that are around him, and basically. Because he did that, he was a kind, giving, hard-working man. That was a negative, according to your mother.
In her eyes, because she didn't want anybody else to have resources.
And then you repeat the same thing that she said. Even though he remarried to a woman that didn't take advantage of it and work with him, and is in a more positive relationship. I'm just wondering, why would you side with your mother over your father and say that about your father, who basically, you said that he was a sucker and people taking advantage of him, but the thing is, everything that you said was basically something that would be admirable in most men. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm reading this wrong.
I mean, you're not reading it wrong. I love my father to death, but my mother always reminded me that your father was a
because hold on.
No, let him say it. Let him say
Hey,
it.
gentlemen, remember what we
y'all
had?
getting
Can't get too excited.
Yeah,
We're getting too excited, man.
No, she's trying to keep. It's not about your dad at this point. He's gone. She's trying to keep control over you.
Yeah.
That's
in other
what it
words,
is.
here's the biggest question: did your mother ever remarry?
no,
Why do you think that is?
because I told her that she was. Me and my mother had this conversation. I told her that she's not a good mate, and me and my we have very strong conversations. Because she's not a good mate, and I think that me picking up some of her ways has made me not a good mate, and I'm trying to let go of those ways.
If you hold on,
Can I say something?
Well, wait, one at a time.
Wait, go ahead.
Rael, and then Charles, and then.
No, go ahead, Charles. He's been waiting.
I just want to say something real quick.
Well, go ahead. Yeah, she hasn't gotten in though.
Hey,
No,
just
she's
like
been here
Murray,
before. Charles ain't went yet.
yeah, I just want to throw in real quick.
I
Like
like
Murray,
this.
you the father. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, you're her husband. Yeah. See, this is the crazy part. What women will do. I don't want you to be like your father. Then why'd you have a baby by him?
Right.
So I'm gonna tell you. How old are you, man?
I'm 33, man, and me and my
33. And
33.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Age of understanding.
Your mother has no. See, in other words, your father was too good for your mother. And
I hate to realize that, and that's true.
And the only way, one thing I've said on my channel, which I'm gonna have to go back into, I'm gonna have to have a BGS moment and revise my shit like the Bible. Mm-hmm. One, the ultimate time is when you become a man. One of the times you gotta outgrow your mother. Your mother can't. Let me ask you something. How many years of experience does your mother have in being a man?
Well, she thinks she's a man because she's a pastor.
That's not the question.
Repeat. Do me a favor. I'm gonna do like people I do in the street. Repeat my question.
Okay. How many years does she have as a man? None.
So why the fuck are you taking experience points and masculinity from a woman?
Because I think because she's my mother and she has a very even though she's a pastor, she has a very nihilistic look at life.
In other words, guess what? Hold up. Does the world look at her the same as a man?
No, but let me
Will
tell
the
you
world ever hold up? Will the world ever treat her as a man? So she doesn't. So guess what? Your mama is just reformed from the street.
Well, let me tell you something.
Let him get in his feelings right quick, Charles.
One time my sister, she was at a church event because my mother's a pastor. We was at a church event, and my sister was playing on the steps, and she ran and she busted her 2 front teeth, and she was bleeding. And my heart poured out for my little sister. I ran, I picked her up, me and my daddy. We ran and picked her up. We ran into the car, and we was going to take her to the hospital to get her looked at. My mother was still politicking for a bigger church on the district.
Have you ever met your grandmother?
Yes, I met my grandmother, and my grandmother.
What is she like?
I told you my grandmother used to party. In other words, like you said, your mother's a climber, right? If you basically,
She doesn't want to go, she wanted to be ambitious like a man because she wants to try to escape her roots. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But she can't because basically she picked up her mother's. I guarantee you, even though her mother drank it, her mother drank and party, she has the same kind of attitude toward men that your mother does have.
My mother, and you're right, because my mother, she gave up. She actually, because my father was in the military, she was actually able to have a job for the military.
Her father was in the military. Guess what she married? A military man, right?
Exactly.
She married her father, and she hated her father for abandoning her, didn't she?
Yeah. And when he died,
that'll be 5 cents. That'll be 5 cents, please.
Well, my granddaddy, my mom, she knew him.
Marinate on what I'm telling you. Stop. Listen to what I'm saying, and stop trying to respond. Okay.
You know what the problem is? You're thinking like a woman. You think too much like a goddamn woman.
Hey, feelings.
No,
hey, Charles, feelings. Get it out.
I know. I'm gonna let you know this. Stop. Stop.
Charles, let him out. Let it out.
Hold up, because I haven't said much. One, you're thinking too much like a goddamn woman. Your mother did you a disservice not letting you live with your father.
I live with my father.
In other words, all that shit that she told you, she did you a disservice. Because she couldn't get a man. And think about this. If you ever go into a lot of pastors' backgrounds, it's pretty fucked up. And if you think about it,
I'm telling you, I grew up with my father. I grew up with my father.
Guess what? At the same time, you're not listening. You're not listening to reply. You're not listening to comprehend.
You're not listening to what we're saying.
Your mother is planting seeds in your head because she wants you to be reliant on her and her beck and call. Because she doesn't even have a husband. I mean, think about that. How can she tell me about, if I go to her for counseling, for marriage counseling, how can she tell me about successful relationships if she tell you not to be a giving man?
Well, I told my mother that she wasn't good at her job. I told her that she wasn't good at her job, man. Like, and I always realized that let me tell you something. I realized a long time ago that my mother failed as a wife and as a mother. I realized a long time ago that my father spent more time with us than my mother did. But we used to visit my mother on different jobs.
But that's not what we heard out of you as far as when it came to your father. That's not what we heard out of you. We heard you side with your mother.
You basically called your dad a sucker.
Well, because at the end of the day, my father gave so much, and he loves us to death.
Hold on, let me finish, Charles. Let me finish.
Let me tell you something, and I'm a sucker because I love my son to death, and I give so much, and I
gotta stop you right there. What the fuck is wrong with giving to your children?
Nothing.
You know what happened was, and you just told me what the fuck happened. Your mother is jealous of you and your kid, you and your sister.
Yeah.
That's what the fuck you just told me. That's the reason why she didn't want it, because she was jealous. She was fucking jealous of you and you got a better father than her.
And there are mothers who don't want to share the love of the man that they have with the children.
Hey, Charles, we assume, because we don't have no idea that why, if she just repeated the same pattern that she saw her mother do, right? Because listen to what he's saying. Listen to the history of it, right? His grandmother married a military man when it was with him. Why did he leave?
She drove him away.
She drove him away. So guess what his mother did? She married a military man, and guess what she did?
I keep telling people this shit is coming from the mother. It's not the
one at a time, y'all. One at a time. You guys can't talk at the same time.
Hey. If the audience can't hear, what's the point in talking?
But at the end of the day, you talking about my mom, though. But you talking shit about my mom, though.
No, we're not.
You talking shit?
Hold on, let me jump in here for a moment.
Gentlemen.
You're not realizing things about your mom.
Go ahead,
Let me jump in here for a moment. Young brother, just let me readjust your focus for a moment. And let me say this so you understand what the panel is trying to get to you. My mother just passed in November. Love her dearly. I never met my father. I'm 49. The one immutable lesson that my father taught me was to never deal with a woman like my mother. And I say that for this particular reason. My mother never yielded to male authority. She was a rock, and it was that rock that kept her from being soft. Your mother is in that same vein. What we're trying to get you to understand is you don't have to be defensive about what we're telling you. Just taking the information and understand how it is that you can get from underneath that rock so you can grow.
Well, you know what? I'm defensive about it because my mother will never leave. My mother, let me tell you something. I can get women. Getting women is no problem to me. But no woman, the woman that'll never leave you is your mother. That is one woman that'll never leave you, yo.
Okay, I'm gonna put it to you this way, yo.
What?
I'm gonna put it to you, I'm gonna put it to you this way.
Yeah, you gotta marinate. You gotta marinate on it.
You have yet to outgrow your mother, dude. You are like Mama's boy to Super Saiyan Blue. You're teetering in an alternate state, man.
What's the credit of the manosphere? Does the manosphere have merit? I think today's panel has proved that manosphere has merit and there's credit in the manosphere. Y'all keep doing y'all work.
See, this is the part that I just want you to say. I want you to realize real quick. You will never grow as a person until you outgrow your mother's teachings. Because first and foremost, as a father, as a parent, you should be giving stuff to your children. That's your job. That's your duty. Number two, you should also teach them lessons. So all that stuff about being greedy, that's a female trait because females are biologically selfish. That's jealousy, dude.
Hold on.
That's jealousy.
This is very telling, and this is very educational for other men to realize, and women to realize.
Yep.
I keep saying, we don't want to acknowledge within the family sphere how much influence a mother can really have.
Or damage.
These motherfuckers, they have, and to a certain degree, they have power because when you're a child, your mother has influence over you. When you're an adult, when you're an adult, and your mom can have you thinking like this, that means she has power over you. That's two different things. And we have so many shells of broken black adults, females and males. When a man says, his mom can talk to him any kind of way as an adult, that's a fucking problem. I didn't tolerate that shit from my own mother. My mom was on her deathbed dying of cancer. And when she got disrespectful, I bounced because it wasn't about her. I knew that as a man, I was going to have to still live my life and I was going to have a positive self-concept. And I didn't let her illness be used as a justification for being disrespectful. No, you will respect me. That is paramount. And if that means I gotta leave this space and love you from afar, then so be it. But for a man, first of all, as a man, the problem that you have, Herb, is that you're looking for love instead of respect, not understanding that respect as it relates to women is love to us. You're not even respected as an adult man, and that's because you haven't set boundaries. Healthy boundaries around work. Your mom shouldn't be able to come to you and talk to you in any kind of tone. Well, first of all, women shouldn't be able to talk to men in any kind of tone anyway. But as a son, you shouldn't be talked to like you're 5 years old. That's a problem. And that lays at your feet. It's not her, it's you.
Okay, let me jump in real quick, y'all. Let me jump in real quick because I don't want us to be crushing Herb. Because at the end, because the issue from this I want to point out is that Herb is talking about a woman that don't have a husband. She didn't invest into that because that's kind of what the show was more about. And I don't want Herb to feel too attacked up here.
Yeah, but Roger, he called this.
Roger, my mama just have a husband.
Hold on a second. I just want to say this. I just want to say Irv doesn't realize he called this out. He wanted this, okay? He called it out. He told us the story. He laid it out for us for a reason, because he wanted us to examine it. But now he's rebelling against it.
And BGS, I'm not mad at one bit, because let me tell you something. My mother is always a wife in the new, and my mom and my father's new wife is like a sister wife. Let me tell you something, man. One thing my mother.
There you go.
I'm gonna tell you something. One thing my mother told me is, she told me that, you know what, son, I always have access to everything that your father has because I have y'all.
See, there you go. There you go. Well, okay. Now, say that.
That's called emotional incest.
Hold on.
In other words, put that. Have a woman that has one of your. You got kids by a woman?
Yes, sir. I have a son, and my wife has the best of me because she has my son. And I struggle with. I told Roger that.
In other words, have your ex say the same thing about you. How would you feel?
I'm dealing with that right now.
In other words, it's fucked up, isn't it?
It is. It is.
And you just accepted it. You just repeating the cycle and accepted it.
You know what? I'm gonna say some real shit to you, man. Because if I gotta open up a panel and speak to you one-on-one, I'll do it. Because number one, what you are is an example of manhood failed. And I'm gonna say this because this is the shit that irritates me about you right now. And I think you're a good guy. I really do think you're a good guy, but there's parts of what you're saying is irritating the fuck out of me.
Okay, go ahead.
You look at fatherhood as some badge of shame. Like, we're suckers. I wish my son's mother would say she got access to me because she has my son. I dare her. First and foremost, I'm doing a better job.
Yeah.
Second is what you gotta pick up your nuts and take them out your goddamn mother's purse.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is listening time.
Go ahead.
Because what's going on now, you married a woman pretty similar to your mother. And you go and you can't, and because you haven't defeated your mother's negative input, you're gonna return to cycle. You got a son? What the hell are you gonna tell your son when he has children? Don't be a sucker, don't always give to your kids. Because if you don't get to your kids, there's plenty of people who don't love your kids and will abuse your kids who will.
So I give to my son very much. So see, the thing about it is,
so what?
Hey, let him talk. Let him talk.
And get other people in because we want to move on because you know we.
I don't want to make this all about me. Not one bit.
You already have. But go ahead.
I'm sorry if I have done that. But what I'm saying is, I think I repeat more the cycle of my father, because even though I agree with what my mother is saying, the heart of me as a father cannot do anything but repeat the cycle of my father. I have always spoken highly of my father. I love my father to death. I cannot.
Would you call him a sucker?
Well, he has been taken advantage of.
But even if he has, I haven't really heard you really say very much negative about your mother.
But you're saying that's not
your father a sucker.
Took advantage of him.
I love my father, but I don't want to talk about it.
Let's take it away from Irv, because I think if we get it in and we could take it away from him and focus on the red and blue pill aspect of the conversation and the negative connotations associated with being blue pill and the simp connotation that floats through the manosphere, because then we could do some more growth and it could be a greater conversation, because I hear him describing a blue pill individual, and that's the topic today. What we need to make greater and stronger communities is the father he's describing, but he's associating him with this blue pill principle and associating it with simp. I'm just saying, it seems like we could take this apart and have a greater conversation about red versus blue pill and the negative connotation.
Okay. There's a very good reason why I left MGTOW, right? Which is a majority white red pill space, is because blue pill for white men is different than blue pill for black men. It is. Yes. That's a vast difference because the white.
I don't want to get bogged down in semantics.
Don't
because my point is not the semantics.
It's not semantics, sir.
I do. I feel this. Okay, go ahead.
No. All right, you guys. Wait a minute. I'm not gonna argue with you because I was in MGTOW. I'm still a MGTOW, right? I know the difference between a white male blue pill space that's ran by white men versus a black blue pill space that's ran by black women. Okay, that's the fundamental difference between the black community and the white community. The black community is ran by women. That's how come you hear black men repeat what their mother says rather than what their father says. That's a fundamental difference. That's what we're talking about. That's why I call the black community a gynocracy. It's ran by women. So there's a fundamental difference between a black blue pill and white blue pill. Fundamental difference. That's all I want to say. And I
can see the terms. So let's talk about the fact that how being a good father and the guy he described is associated with being a simp and a sucker. I can see the terms.
I can elaborate on that, if you're willing to let me see.
Namer, how you doing?
How you doing? But I'm on the verge of wanting to snap off and go off. But anyway,
referring to who?
No, I've been wanting to say. See, this is what I'm dealing with.
Everybody, calm down. I won't pull black.
I'll go ahead and leave, man. That's all right.
No.
Actually, no, BGS didn't want you.
Hey, the host is talking, y'all. The host is talking. Okay, the host talking. Relax. Okay. Now, BGS is an elder, so if he steps in, whether people like it or not, y'all gonna have to concede to him. Same way I have people concede to Black Uru because he is an elder. And guess what? With other people, you're the elder. So you want people to do it with you, so do it with them.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Roger.
Go ahead. Well, I'm gonna say and I do want full black to get in, but my thing is we do need to talk in the aspect of what I was trying to do with the show, and that's the reason I even had a part 2. A lot of women are doing a lot of things that don't get them a husband. Even what Irv is describing right now, I can easily see why his mama ain't got a husband right now. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because the way she's viewing men and the way she's highlighting good things about men and trying to put them in a negative aspect. So Irv is looking at certain good things, but he's looking at them as a negative thing. Mm-hmm. So, of course, Charles has a point. If we all keep moving in that direction, where we look at good things as bad and bad things as good, how we gonna ever get into a good position as a people? We're not.
I would love to ask Irv if his grandmother's still alive.
Well,
no, she's not. She's not alive, and you know what? And at the end of the day, I do very well for myself, so I can take care. I can take care of my child and my mom.
I understand that, but there's a reason I asked whether because I want you to trace and see how far this goes back, because there's a pattern, and you need to know what the pattern is so that you can understand. Whether you do anything with it or not is immaterial. The thing is, you need to understand it.
If I may.
My mother will not go without because she has a son. Put it that way.
Oh, okay, all right, man.
She got a son. She won't go without.
All right.
She won't go without. Put it that way.
Hey, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna let Full Black have the floor. But let me tell you this, because I'm not trying to disrespect or nothing. But the statement you just made should never be attached to a son. A woman should never go without because of her husband, not because of her son.
That's
okay, women are. You know, and you need to see yourself as that. At a certain point, a son becomes before the mother. Even with much as I love my mother, and I told you I got a pretty good mother. She ain't perfect, but she was a pretty good mother. Okay, if me and her are somewhere, I'm in charge. Why? Because she's still a woman at the end of the day, and I'm grown. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, I come before her. Period. And she knows that, and I know that. Go ahead, Full Black. Whoever has the background noise, please slow it down.
First of all, I'm sure BGS would understand what I'm about to say because this relates to women in general, like Irv's mother in particular. First of all, this woman does not hate her father. She actually hates her mother. And one thing every woman fears is that they become their mother. And with that being the case, you know, a woman will go out of her way to not become her mother. But the problem is that every woman ends up becoming her woman because As Nietzsche once said, when you fight the monster, you have to make sure you don't become the monster. And some people, unfortunately, when they hate something with a passion, they end up becoming the very thing they hate. And they repeat the cycle. And they're still she's in denial of that. She's become the very thing that her mother is. As far as Herb, like you said about how women could be disrespectful and whatnot. If I can relate to you, if I can put this in a way you might understand. Do you ever watch those stand-up comedy by any chance? Herb?
Just go ahead, Naima. Just go ahead. Continue.
Herb, I mean, it's like Bernie Mac once said, women just do anything. They think they can talk any kind of way they want to talk to somebody. Doesn't make any sense. It's like at the time he had this situation where a woman asked him if pussy tastes like pumpkin pie. And he looked at her and was like, get the hell away from me. I never had no pumpkin pie. So it is what it is.
Hey, can I jump in for a minute?
Go ahead, Sheed.
Oh, before you do, Sheed, I have to outdo you. Okay.
Hey, unless only person that can outdo me is Nino, because he got the pipe. But you, hey, sit down, brother. But when it comes down to it, man, you got to look at this. Being in your second childhood, man, it's a pattern. When you get older, you still have to have that sense of mining. And I had a partner. It was to the point where he really was, trying to set the tone with his mom when he went to college. Now, his mom, she didn't take kindly to disrespect, but she was a, humble lady. She believed in her man running the house, and the dad raised the boys to a certain degree, to which, they mind their mom and understand. And when he told me the story, it was funny because his brother went to college. His mom told him, take out the trash. He said, no, go get some. He said, go get my little brother to do it. And she said, well, I'm sorry. I ain't mean to ask you. I told you to take out the trash. So he mouthed off again. She popped him in the mouth with a broom. Did it again, popped him in the mouth with a broom. And I kind of looked at it as, from a standpoint, it was kind of disrespectful to him because it was something simple as taking out the trash. Why he just didn't go ahead and do it. But to the extent of him wanting to kind of set the stage of him being grown, I was kind of up and down with that situation. And it kind of bothered me, but just listening right now, I'm kind of balanced with it now. It comes to a point where, you have to stand up and be grown. But in a sense, with that scenario right there, there was no need of being grown. It's just all about, respect, honoring, do what you're supposed to do, but to a certain extent. Don't let your, being grown trying to influence the way you handle your elders, for one. And for two, with this situation, you're going to always love your mom. My cousin said that about his mom, about, there'll never be another woman like you. I said, nah. I said, your daughter maybe, but not your mom. Well, your mom would never leave you. Yes, she would. Your daughter would do the same thing at most points. So when it really boils down to it, there's really no woman that'll stand by you unless they want to. Because I had a situation on the panel where I told a guy, my wife has never cheated on me, but I only trust her to a certain degree. The guy told me I was hurt. He told me, I was hurt before. Somebody did something to me. And when I explained to him, my wife will never be 100 with me, because in any given moment, the human nature, they can just wake up and be somebody new tomorrow.
And go left.
My wife, exactly. And it's not a perfect world. That's why I tell guys to vet, ask questions, deal with a woman to get an understanding of who she is. Like I was talking about that when the young lady was on last time about, dealing with a hurt woman that's hiding all that pain, and eventually one day it's going to come out, because eventually you only can bottle in so much pain to an extent. You got to get it out some way or another, when you slam your finger, at that moment you might try to hold in that yell, but eventually that pain coming behind it. So you gotta let it out. And the situation that a lot of people are having is, you know, being pushed in a narrative of always having to pick one or the other, mother or father. You always got to go with the truth. The truth will always set you free, no matter what. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You know whether it comes from a child, know whether it comes from a woman or a man. The truth is the truth. And if you've been led astray, it's up to you to get yourself back on the right track. And seeing the path that you're going to go down, ultimately, you're going to wake up and see your child going down the same path and their child going down the same path until the point where somebody has to break the cycle. You know, a lot of guys, they say, well, you know, women are in these bad situations that, you know, grow up with their moms abusing them and this and that. I've known girls that, you know, had abusive moms and tried to put them out there on the track to, you know, get something for themselves. Well, you know, as long as you got that between your legs, a woman once said, as long as you got that between your legs, you should never go hungry. You should never be without.
That's what
but the point of it is, exactly. And it's the point of it is, she grew to not to be like that in order to get a husband, make some of herself and be better. You know, and she didn't learn that from her mom. She learned that outside the house because why? She knew it was a better life. She knew it was something out there that wasn't being taught. And there's a lot of men and women that go around talking about the elders and talking about they was never taught. But if, like I say, if you're only going through one elder and you're looking at them as the Holy Grail, you know, you don't have at least 10 to 15, I say at least 10 elders that you can talk to and they give you some kind of understanding and clarity on life, you just sadly being misguided, you know? And it comes to that issue where you can't start blaming the elders. You can't start blaming your mom or your dad. You got to start looking at yourself because you never took the initiative to grow up. You wanted to remain a child. You wanted to be cuddled and be loved and hugged all your life. And like I tell guys, when I do that about the feelings, that's come from an emotional standpoint where you need to start checking yourself. If like I told
that's you, nigga, by the way.
And yeah, I like to talk about that because
hold on, before you respond, Herb, let me say real quickly, thank you to Sir Anthony for the Cash App. Appreciate that, my brother. And for those who you want to get on, because sometimes I forget to throw the link. So what I've started doing, and it's up there now, I put the link in the description so you can get on, even if I forget to put the link out every once in a while. The links will be in the description.
Okay, I want to tell a story. I actually want to read something right quick that really encapsulates what we've been talking about. When I was on Facebook, and matter of fact, Oprah had a show about this. I don't know if you can still go back and watch it. But this woman was talking about her aunt, and she said that her aunt had her mom said to her aunt, you know, whatever her aunt's name was, like you need to get a man. And her aunt response was, I got 3 sons, I don't need a man. Mm-hmm. And what come to find out, what she said they came to find out what was happening was this freaking demon was having sex with her 13-year-old committed suicide. This shit is real. This emotional incest shit that's been going on in Black America really needs to be brought to the fore. Now, now mind you, this is the first chapter in this book, Mothers Who Can't Love But Healing Your After Daughters. The first chapter is called The Taboo of Questioning Your Mother's Love. This is the first chapter. In quotations, it says, don't you dare say anything bad about your mother. She says, we may think we live in a very psychologically aware times, but we haven't yet managed to shake off our mythical version of motherhood. The myth that says a mother by definition, just by being the mother, and this is why I always make the distinction, there's a difference between a mother and a bitch who just has some kids. By definition, is capable of love, protection, and kindness. The mother myth gives great cover to unloving mothers who far too often operate undisturbed while their husbands, other family members, and society deflect any criticism or scrutiny aimed at them. Most societies glorify mothers as if the mere act of giving birth makes them inherently capable of nurturing. That's simply not true. There's no magic switch that turns on maternal instinct and ensures that a woman, especially a troubled one, will suddenly bond with her baby, know and respond to what that child needs, and give her the nurturing he or she craves. The widespread belief, he says actually, of course, the Freudian tradition of mother bashing, blaming mothers for everything that goes wrong is erroneous. But it's also a fantasy to believe that the role of mother is automatically synonymous with healthy love. The widespread belief in this fantasy is so strong that if your mother was unloving and you try to tell the truth of what happened, how your mother really behaved towards you, you will inevitably run into a wall of resistance from powerful external forces, including your mother herself, that pull together to defend her. In fact, dealings with unloving mothers are constricted by so many taboos, and attitudes about the mother wound are so charged that it's common to encounter skepticism, sharp criticism, and counterproductive advice. If you've attempted to chart a new course with your mother, you've already seen what can happen. For example, you try to make peace with her and find yourself pulled back into a web of criticism and manipulation. Once more, you're the ungrateful one, the selfish one, the unforgiving one, the one who will always owe her no matter what she does. You seek advice from relatives and sometimes friends who respond, how can you talk that way about your mother? She gave you life. What's wrong with you? You have the misfortune of consulting misguided therapists who urge you to forgive and forget and make peace with your mother no matter how high the emotional cost to you. You try to get support from a priest, minister, or spiritual counselor, and you're met with responses like, honor thy mother, you won't heal until you forgive, family is everything. You even try to talk to your partner who counsels, don't let her get to you, that's just the way she is. And after all that, you're back where you started, bewildered, alone, and even shamed by the attempt to face and overcome your history. You may start to wonder if you have the right to feel the way you do.
Well, why? Yeah, my mother told me a long time ago that she doesn't love me.
I'm cutting right here on purpose. Look, I see where things is going. I actually want to do a whole show on, the son-husband type of things. Mm-hmm. But as I told y'all before, I try to tackle one thing at a time, because if you try to tackle everything going on in the black community, we'll be sitting here talking for years. Okay? Yes. And I'm trying to put out a show. I'm just not a guy on YouTube doing the talk. I'm putting out a show for a purpose. I expect this stuff to be watched by many people over many years, and even once we're all dead and gone, I expect folks to come back and look at this stuff. And I know for some people, y'all think that's retarded, but if you think the way technology is going right now, that people 100 or 150 years from now won't be dialing this stuff up to see what was going on a century from now, just like we sometimes wonder, I wish I could go back and see what was happening in Bible days. I wish I could go back and see what was happening when America was really putting itself together. Those people will actually be able to go do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I can't talk about everything in the same show. That's why I do that. Okay.
I know, one thing that I have realized is women are very nihilistic. My mother told me from a long time ago, because your mother. Oh yeah. But one thing she told me is that I don't love you, I need you. So exactly. I understand a long time. I understood this a long time ago.
I know.
No one on this panel is telling me something that I don't understand.
Evidently not.
Love, I understand the need.
Okay. Well, the thing is that Roger, after 7 years of doing this, man, especially with on long streams, this is what we call an intervention, right? He wanted an intervention. That's how come we brought it up. That's how come we're still on it.
Exactly.
We could have dropped this like an hour ago. Okay. But the thing is, he keeps going over and over and over again because he wants us to intervene.
I don't want you. What I'm telling you is, it's not. And I ain't gonna stop that. Well, it's not an intervention. What I'm telling you is,
okay, all right.
You have great fathers, and you have women that need great men. However it pans out, man. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, all right. We can move on then.
Let's move on.
I just wanna.
No, let's drop it. Let's drop it. Let's move on. Because this ain't about me. Let's move on.
Okay.
But from here on out, that means you ain't gonna bring up no more personal information up here. That's what that means.
I like to bring up personal information because
you can't do that. No, you can't have it both ways. You can't bring up your personal information and expect people not to make comments on it.
No. You can, but if y'all, I mean, BGS said he want to move on from it. I'm okay with moving on from it. I'm not.
Yeah, but BGS told you on some shows ago to go get some counseling too. Have you done that?
Counseling from what?
Are you serious?
The fact that I have a brother. I mean, I don't.
BGS, do you remember that show when you?
I remember that. I remember that show. Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, okay. I know that this, and basically we've given them like $1,500 worth of psychological help just right here. Okay.
Right.
Because we're actually cutting to the point. We're actually cutting to the point of where this started and what he needs to go look at. The thing is, he doesn't want to go look at it. It is what it is. You don't have to look at it, man. It's up to you.
I mean,
it's fine.
You gotta look at somebody. You gotta look at somebody like this. It's no different than going out to a call. Oh my God, my husband or my wife's beating on me. You arrest whoever's the assailant is. But they go back to the situation. They're gonna keep calling and calling. Well, I need help. No, you don't. You just want somebody to get upset about something.
He's not talking about you. 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 He's not talking about you.
Okay, well, it's right. Let's move on.
See, this is the emotional part that I was telling you about. This is the emotional part. You're getting hostile. I didn't even use you as an example, man.
Okay, you're right. You're 100% right. You're correct.
So the only thing I've seen, because I've seen brothers like you before, mama can do no wrong. Guess what? My mama is not supposed, it is not a son's job to put his mama in a house. That's her husband's. A lot of, and I'm going to say this, a lot of black women have put undue stress on their young men because their failure to get a man themselves.
Yeah.
And it's funny how in a community, you put more emphasis on being a mother than being a goddamn wife. You know why? Because the government actually finances your kids to go to school. You don't even have to teach them a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
You're lucky if I pray to God that a lot of black kids out there have great comprehension and mathematical skills. Because it's not due to the mother, it's just due to the kid having some luck of the draw when it comes to intellect.
See, my issue with this, I hear you talking about, but my issue, let me tell you, my issue, let me say this. My issue is, when you look at the chat, you got cats talking about some, you're not a man, you screwed, I dare any of you to try me.
Type in the chat. All right.
Herb, stop, don't do that, Herb. First of all, I done told y'all many times, stay out the chat.
Stay out the chat.
If something needs to be highlighted, I will highlight it. If I see something that I believe is gonna bring that value to the show. Not to say the people in the comment section aren't valued, because they are valued. But we can't highlight everything everybody says. So, and you're always gonna have people that's doing some trolling and people throwing little shots at folks and things like that. We can't take this personal. If you're on the platform, you got to understand you're a guest on my show.
True.
Your perspective has a priority than the people in the chat. If those people in the chat are always welcome to come up to the show. Some do, some don't. That's on them. Okay, so let me highlight them, and then they'll become a priority. But they can always come to the panel and say whatever they want. I ain't stop nobody from jumping on these panels, except for one sucker who knows who he is, and he ain't gonna even try. And then, I don't know, it might be one lady I might cut off after what she said last time. I don't know if I got any more use for her. But but that's it. So go ahead. And Herb, don't take none of this personal, man. Nobody here is attacking you because they don't like you. We're just trying to help you as a one man to another, and that's it. So don't get personal with it.
It's like this, man. I've seen this behavior so many times. Number one, you got to release yourself from the burden. Yeah. Are you supposed to take care of your mother if she gets sick or hurt, wounded, or something? Yeah. But at the same time, where's the person she picked as a companion, as a husband? See, a lot of times, if you actually know this, your father was a husband.
He's a good husband.
He's a father.
He's a good husband.
He's a good damn husband. You can't even even all the crazy stuff your mother said about him, you can't even fucking come out of your lips to say anything negative about him.
I know that, and what I'm saying is my mother lost a good husband, so therefore she has nothing else. I heard a woman tell me the worst thing a woman could lose is a good man. My mama lost a really, really good man. Whether he's a sucker, whether she looks at him as a sucker or not, he was a really good man, and I feel so bad.
Hey, Charles,
I feel bad about that.
I'm asking this question. Hold up. I'm asking this question, Herb. Do you think that he was a sucker?
No, that's what she told me, but I that's why I do whatever I can for my child, because I want to be like my dad. But I have heard my mother call him a sucker. But let me tell you, man, like.
But I'm gonna stop you right there.
Okay.
What you need to do is this. What you have to do is this. You can do it. You can choose it or not. You need to really realize, what does your mother say? Is it, you got to decipher the truth from the bullshit. And sometimes she's casting a lot of her bullshit onto you, because women do a big job of casting all their failures onto their children,
casting spells.
And guess what? You know the term. You gonna be nothing like your no good ass father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have a really bad term of putting their failures. She knew she failed. She thought that she could say whatever she wants to this man and he won't leave. And he said, you know what he did one day? He grabbed his balls, put his dick over his shoulders and said, I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be back. And what, 33 years later, or 20-something years later, he married a better woman. He said not only did he actually outclassed her, he was too good for your mother. He was too good. She didn't even realize it, that this was truly the man of her dreams. She could ask for no more. Mm-hmm. But women in this modern era have the ability, I mean the fucking superpower of fucking up a good thing.
She married her father. That's what she did. If you go,
I hated it so right, because my daddy grew up with 12 kids. He was a good man. My mother grew up without a father. She didn't know what a father was. I literally, let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell you, I hate the fact that y'all right.
Hey,
can I tell you that?
We can tell.
We've
been through this for 7 years.
I hate y'all. I mean, it's. I'm dealing with it on my own side, because I have to talk. I have to deal with my mama. I have to deal with my mama.
Go get some help. Go get some help.
I hate the fact that y'all right, man.
Go get some help.
I'm going to tell you, everything we're saying to you is not to hurt you, it's to pick you up. Men are a little bit harsh, so we can push. Women are supposed to inspire. And see, this is the point that we don't have the shield and the protection women have in the society to fuck up.
Sure don't.
Because guess what? Even when you're not there, who gets blamed for the child being a failure?
Us. Men.
So it's funny because the person who's there 99% of the time, they don't have more effect over that child. You would think that so if it was logical. But here's the point I want to make. You got to overcome that, because one day when your child becomes a man,
yes,
and he asks you these same fucking questions, because nothing under the sun is new, just reinvented.
You have to break that curse.
You're gonna have to break it. And what happens is, what you need to do is sit down with your father.
Yeah.
And have a nice, I don't know if he drinks, I don't know if he doesn't drink, get him a nice soda or some juice. Sit down and ask him some very deep and funneling questions. And do the same with your mom. And become a detective and decipher the bullshit from the truth. And then go, like BGS was telling you, go get professional help.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of demons.
We can come to these panels for that, because I feel like we
can only go so far. We can only go so far.
But me and my father do take long walks in the woods, and we talk about things. Me and my father have gotten so close.
See, let me get in for a quick break. Real quick, thank you. I'm gonna say thank you to LH. I don't want to say your first name because you have kind of a distinctive first name, so people may instantly recognize it who do know you. So I'm gonna say LH. I appreciate the cash out. But go ahead, Irv, and I'm glad you come to the show and you get some of this stuff off your chest. But I remember a show that we did over here where we also told you that you do need to go get some counseling. And we said it because that's what we think, brother. We love you as one brother to another, but we do think you need counseling. Yeah. But go ahead.
Hey, Irv, don't feel bad, man. I just came back in the show because the best thing you can do is when you off this, go back and listen to what these guys just said. You just don't know what you did. You just opened up a door that some young girl is listening to this and saying, wait a minute, I identify with him and I'm a girl. So can you imagine, you're a young man and you went through this. Imagine what these young girls and what Raj is trying to do. So it's good that you just did that. And what they did was, when Rael read that, all he had to interchange, instead of putting the woman, he just put a man. He just read you. What women did. That's the only reason I came back in, bro. So, hey, man, we here for you. But yeah, bro, that was good. You got that shit out, man. I'm over here tripping, but good. You at least got it out. You got it out.
Well, I feel like counseling is weak. My mother's a counselor. I feel like counseling is weak.
Okay.
I feel like
it's not weak. You just got it. You just got counseling. You just got it for free.
You got it for free.
Let me go ahead and say something too.
And I'm going to appreciate you.
All right, you got to look at this. And I hope my phone will go out. But the men in the chat who want to say something, try to snipe the conversation, you got to understand, man. These are the conversations we need to have to build us to be men. And for men to come at another man, that's a sad mistake. You got to find a yard that you have some type of problems and issues that you need to open up about. Because this man is on here, he don't have to be up here trying to seek help from other men to build. That's what you do. You don't go to a woman to try to build you. You go to men to help you. Yeah. And for guys in the chat, if you need help, you don't have an understanding, you sit here and listen. You know, I can crack jokes.
Let me ask you this, Irv, and this is probably the last question I'm going to ask you. Okay, has your father ever really gone in on your mother?
No, my father is he's a good, quiet man. He takes his suffering in silence, and he does the best for his children. I can always count on my father. I can always call on him. He will never leave me. He's
never said anything. He's never, like your mother has said things about him, but he's never said anything about her. Why is that?
No, sir. He's never done
that. In other words, what you need to do is sit down, get a bottle. Okay, I don't know if your father drinks or not. If he's been in the military, he probably has. Get a bottle, sit down, and say, "Hey, Dad, honestly, I know take off the restrictors. Tell me about my mother, how you met, and what she was like, from your vantage point, and see what his side is. Because you've heard your mother's side, but you never heard his side."
Is that the master teaching you the Faulkner advice? Oh, I feel like
hey, well, you know, this is universal. But the thing is, you know, it is universal because I had to learn this. You know, I had to learn this as a young man, right? Because I'll actually tell the story, right? Because I've always heard my mother complain about my father, right? And I think I had just, you know, I had kids. I got a woman, you know, and shit like that at mom's house, right? And she's complaining about pops, right? And then one day it just dawned on me. Okay, I said, but you married him, okay? I said, you married him. So the thing is that, and I you know, from having kids and having a woman and going through bullshit, I said, okay, there's two sides to this story, okay? I said, and first thing I said is it pissed her off. She said, well, you know, I'm blah, you know, I don't think I'm really his wife, blah blah. But one thing I said that always pisses her off. I said, but ain't that your name on that paper? With your signature? You married him. There's a reason you married him, okay? And same thing, I'm listening to your side of the story, but he's never told his side of the story. So the two sides of the story. So what you need to do is to stop accepting your mother's side of the story, because you got women. You know, women will always paint themselves to be the hero, okay?
Yeah.
Always.
Yep.
Get a bottle.
My father doesn't have a side of the story.
Hold on.
Let him finish.
Hold on. Get a bottle. I'm telling you, as a man as old ass man that has daughters, okay, that has daughters, has a son, get a motherfucking bottle. Because I know as a man, I tend not to disparage my kid's mother, okay, at all costs if I don't have to, right? Get a bottle, sit down between them, and have a couple of drinks as a dad. Tell me
a bottle of what? Tell me a bottle of what? Because I'll do it. A bottle of what?
Anything.
Ask your dad. What is daddy drink?
Matter of fact,
my dad don't drink. My dad's a good military man. He drinks.
Then take him to lunch.
in other
Take him
words,
to lunch. You got an imaginary mind.
Here's the point where you failed. You failed to intricately get to know your father. Because every guy, my father used to like Thunderbird, Colt 45. He hasn't picked up the shit in 33 years. Yeah. Okay? Everybody, my birthday just passed. You know what everybody got me? Some VSOP or XO cognac. Yeah. That's one of the fucking criteria of being a man. Stop looking for the excuse of what should I get. The point is that we're trying to make is to sit down, make it a comfortable setting, get some cigars if you smoke a little bit. Who cares?
Yes.
Guess what? You sit down where it's just you and daddy. Yeah. And that's it. And you go raw. Like you shut the fuck up. This is what you need to do. You shut the fuck up. Y'all need to pay fucking Roger for this, by the way. You shut the fuck up.
Shout out
and
to
you
Kareem
take whatever your daddy says is gold.
Yeah,
shout out to Kareem
story. Unfiltered. Yeah.
Oh, and this is exactly what Larry Elder did with his father.
Yeah.
He had all these judgments against his father. He, for 10 years, I think 30. He sat down and had a conversation with his father. And you know what he found out from his dad? Because he was so pissed off at his dad because he thought his dad was mean and all this. When he sat down with his father, he found out his dad, his grandmother, his dad's mother, kicked his dad out the house when he was 13 during the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that man had to go through to survive that shit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's sitting up here complaining about, how that man had to develop a hard ass exterior to survive that shit. So a lot of times we hear mama stories all the time because, like feminists say, personal is political. We always hearing their shit. We not hearing father's story. I grew up with my dad. I know my dad's story. And that's why I have mercy for him in my heart, because I saw from a man's perspective what it's like to really have to go through the trial and tribulation you have to go through as a man out here. This shit ain't easy.
Ain't nobody telling
easy as a man. I mean, men make it look easy because a lot of times, the reason why people think men make it look easy is because a lot of times there's no space for men to express their emotions. I have been around black men who have come to me crying. My friends, I'm talking about close friends I've known for 20 years, crying over things like being rejected from their mom. They wanted to have a great relationship with
DMX.
All that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So this idea that we got tear ducts for a reason, because we can feel some pain. We can cry.
Shit. Tell them
I gotta hear that shit.
Man, but I refuse to be hurt, bro.
Let me say this real quick. First, thank you to Kareem Henry. Appreciate that, because I wanted to give you a verbal one. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you also to Derek for the Cash App. Irv, thank you for the Cash App, brother. Hey, you're getting some counseling, so it's good. And I got another person with kind of a distinctive first name, so I'm gonna say thank you to LKM. Thank you to LKM. They should know who they are. Appreciate all y'all. And we're going to stay up here as long as necessary to Irv is done. Because Irv, this is about you at this point. So it is what it is. And I got to...
Man,
I agree.
I refuse to be hurt, man. I refuse to say that my mother hurt me.
Irv,
you have to talk to yourself.
We got to take into account what BJ said. You was throwing it out there. So this is what you wanted. My thing is, as a person that please, whoever got the background noise. As a person responsible for the platform, all the times that I keep saying I'm trying to do this to help my people, and I just want to make some money helping my people. For me to stop this right now don't actually seem right at all. You know what I'm saying? So, we're gonna take as long as you need to make this okay. But I'm still gonna say you still should get counseling after all is said and done. But go ahead.